Hey, what's up, Ben? This is Dad. I'm just giving you, I just want to get in touch with you to just try to see how I can help out with your 10 marks and see what we can do. I'll be honest with you, this stuff is confusing, man. Some of this stuff I'm looking at, and I don't really understand how to do problem number one. I just think it's poorly written and all of that kind of stuff. I tried calling you guys back, but you guys haven't been picking up your phone. Anyway, let's take a look at this thing real quick. 2/5 of a graduating class went on to be doctors. Of this, a quarter want to specialize as pediatricians. So what you're going to want to do is, in order to figure out how much of the class went on to be pediatricians, because pediatrician is a specialized doctor, you multiply 2/5 times 1/4. So 2/5 times 1/4, that would be this thing, or 1/4 times 2/5. They'll give you the same results because multiplication you can do in any order and you won't get messed up. That's not true with division or subtraction. You can't just mess around with those things. But yeah, these two are the only ones that will give you your answer. The dividing fractions, I'll show you how to do those maybe at a later time or later on in this lesson. But for now, I'm looking at these, and these aren't going to give you the right answer. So I would say the answer for part one of this is yes and yes, and these two are no. If I want to take a look at this model, I'm looking at 2/5 and I'm trying to multiply that by 1/4. What I'm thinking in my head is that one of those needs to be 2/5, all right? So you chose this one right here because you had two green columns over here, but that's not a fifth of it. That's actually only a fourth of, this is 2/4. The green that you chose is half or 2/4 of this entire box over here. I kind of like thinking of this thing as, if I take a look at this box over here, this box will represent the 2/5, right? Because if I think of these green vertical things as bars, then I'll have 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar, 5 bars. And of those 5 bars, only 2 of them are shaded in. Also, the blue lines represent the 1/4. So, because you think of these horizontals as bars, so you have 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bars, and only one of those out of the 4 is highlighted green. So if you had a class of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that if you had a class of 20 doctors, or you had a class of 20 students, then 2/5 will become doctors. So that would be this many students. And a quarter of those wants to be pediatricians. So only 2 out of the 20 people would become pediatricians. That doesn't mean that you'll only have 2 doctors, though. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 doctors. I hope that makes sense to you. Like I said, this way of doing math, I guess they want to show it to you visually, but to me it just gets confusing. Anyway, I like what you said here. This is perfect. You have 2/3 times 1/6. Now the 2/3 is represented by the blue part over here. This is 1, 2, 3 columns, and you shaded in 2 of those, and so that's perfect right there. And then the 1/6, well, these horizontal, if you kind of think of these red shaded cells as 1 bar, you have 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar, 5 bar, 6 bars, and only one of those is shaded, so that's the 1/6, and you multiply that, and you end up getting, well, it's 2 of these things shaded in with both of those colors. This graph over here is simply the same as this graph, just turned over on its side. Let's see, which model can be represented by this? Okay, so I like, let's see, I think that I'm going to look at the 1/8. What they did was they wanted to divide this thing into 8 pieces. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I totally agree with what your answer is, because this is 1 column, 2 column, 3 column, 4 column, all the way up to 8 columns, and one of those is shaded in. The reason for this solid one all the way over here is because you have 1 hole. And then the 1/3 is represented by this horizontal column, or this horizontal row. The capacity of a water tank is an empty water tank is 25 1/2 liters. The pipe fills a third of the tank. A pipe fills a third of the tank. Which expression can be used to find the amount of water that is in the tank now? Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, all right. So you have an empty tank that can hold 2.5 liters, and you only want to figure out how much is a third of it. So you multiply it by 1/3. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want to do. I think you messed up this part right here. I think that the best way to kind of do this problem is 25 times 1/2. All right, so let's try this. 25 1/2 times 1/3. Your teacher might have taught you this differently, and I'll be honest with you, I think that, well, I'm not sure the best way to do this problem, but I'll show you the way I would do it. This right here is called an improper fraction. It's a fraction that has both a number and a fraction associated with it. I want to change it into a proper fraction, and that means I want to change it into just something that just has a numerator and denominator and nothing else. So in order to do that, I multiply these numbers together, and I get 25 times 2, which is 50. Add that 1 over there, and I get 51 over 2 times 1/3. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to do it. All right. Multiply the 3 times the 2. So when you multiply fractions, you multiply the top with the top and the bottom with the bottom. You end up getting 51 over 6. Okay? Then I guess the question that you need to ask yourself is, how many times does 6 go into 51? Well, let's count by 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. I'm not very good at counting by sixes. 42, 48, and then 50, 54. That's too much. So it goes into 8 times. And 8 times 6 would give me 48, but I'm not quite there yet. So I'll have, let's see, 51 minus 48 is 3. So I have 3/6 left over. Because 8 times 6 gives me 48, and I'll need 3 more to get to that 51. So I have 8 holes in here plus 3/6 left over. I can reduce that fraction part over here and make this 8 1/2. So what I did here, Ben, is I took an improper fraction and then I converted it to a proper fraction, and then I multiplied and I got a proper fraction, but they wanted the answer back in an improper fraction, so I converted it back into an improper fraction by asking myself, I guess the one way to think about it is if you were to set it up like this, your 51 divided by 6, you would end up getting 8 remainder 3. That's exactly what I have, is I have 8 holes, remainder 3/6. Because there's the remainder and you still have the, a sixth of them. And then you can reduce the 3 over 6 to be 1 over 2. I know that sounds a little confusing. Maybe it's extra steps, but I honestly think that's the best way to do that problem. All right, let's see. The songs on Matt's computer is two-thirds are rock. Of the rock songs, a fourth are female solo artists. You would multiply those 2/3 times 1/4. I totally agree with what you're saying, Ben. You can do it in the reverse order, 1/4 times 2/3. You'll get the same answer. Let's see if you chose the right one over here. I would say this is 2/3. I wouldn't say that's 1/4. I would throw that out. Let's see. I would say this is your best answer. Here's 2/3, and here's 1/4, and you would multiply those. That's how you would get that answer. Because this right here is 2/4. See how you actually highlighted, the green is highlighted half of them? So you might want to change your answer on that one. Lauren solves multiplication problems with 2 fractions. The picture shows her results. All right. Okay, all right. So she went with 1/2 times 1/4. I think, to be honest with you, that thing should be shaded in blue over here as well. The number 1/2 is one of the factors. Yes, I agree with this statement. I agree with this statement. I think that that's good. Bottle contained 1 3/4 liters of juice. Thomas drank half of it. All right. So you would multiply it by 1/2, and that's how you would get your answer. Now, how do you do this problem right here? Okay. Again, that would be just like what we did earlier with the, I forgot which problem that was. I think it was number 5. That would be just like what we did earlier with, this problem over here. We would take that improper fraction, change it into a proper fraction, then multiply them out, and then change it back into an improper fraction, because that's what they wanted us to do. Now, it might not change back into an improper fraction, and that's fine. Like if your answer is indeed 7/8, which actually, let me check to make sure that that's correct. You have 1 3/4 times 1/2. Where's my... All right, I'm going to convert this to a proper fraction, so I have 7/4 times 1/2. Oh, half. I get 7/8. Hey, I totally agree with what your answer is. So you almost got that correct. I would probably change that to multiply. All right, Michelle traveled 5.5 miles. She covered 1/5 of the distance by car. Yeah, again, multiply and do that trick that we've kind of been working on. Sunny solves a multiplication problem with 2 fractions. The picture shows result. Okay, so let's see. One of the factors, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. 3 of them is shaded. I would say that this is one of your factors, and it shows. Yeah, I would say that this is also 2/5 as well. Yeah, this thing is 2/5 of that thing, so you would multiply those 2 things. All right, Ben. I hope that helps you out. Yeah, talk to you later. Love you. Bye.